On a quiet street in Alton, Illinois, a horrific crime would shatter a community and expose the deadly consequences of unchecked domestic violence. 22-year-old Liese Dodd, 8 months pregnant with a baby girl she called Baby Bean,
she was very much looking forward to becoming a mom,
was brutally murdered and decapitated by her on-and-off boyfriend, Andrea Holloway.
911, what's the address of the...
Yeah. Hi. Listen.
What's going on?
My girlfriend's daughter is killed. Yeah.
What's going on there?
My daughter's, he chopped her head off.
On June 9th, 2022, this is the complete story of a case that shocked America and revealed the failures of systems meant to protect vulnerable women.
It is completely terrible what happened to her.
Liese Ann Dodd. Born on August 14, 1999 in Alton, Madison County, Liese Dodd was known for her compassionate nature and bright spirit. Even as a child, her empathy shone through remarkable acts of kindness. At age 10, instead of asking for birthday presents, she organized a fundraiser for the Riverbend Humane Society, a local no-kill animal shelter in Jerseyville. This selfless gesture would become emblematic of who Liese was, someone who consistently put others before herself. After graduating from Jersey Community High School in 2017, Liese worked at Dairy Queen, where customers remembered her as a vibrant and friendly server. But she wasn't just working for the sake of it. She was saving money to pursue her dreams in the medical field, following in her mother's footsteps into nursing. By June 2022, she was 8 months pregnant with a baby girl, and her family had just sent out invitations for a baby shower planned for the end of the month.
I had just sent out invitations prior Saturday for the baby shower. We were just excited and kind of gathering the items you need to have a baby.
The perpetrator, Andrea Holloway. Andrea Holloway, 22 at the time of the murder, came from a troubled background marked by instability and mental health issues. According to his half-sister, PJ, he lived a transient lifestyle, moving between different people's homes whenever conflicts arose.
What do you know about DeAndre's life currently, about his relationship status and things like that, and where he lives and things like that?
He lives pretty much with everybody. He lives with his girlfriend, but whenever they get into it, he hops in different people's homes.
His relationship with substances and difficult home life had made him unpredictable and dangerous. Holloway's stepfather would later acknowledge that while the family knew he was capable of violence, they had been trying to get him mental health treatment for at least 3 years. However, they were repeatedly told by the system that they can't hold them unless they've done something. This tragic reality would prove prophetic. The toxic relationship Liese and Andrea had been in an on-and-off relationship for approximately 2 years, a period marked by escalating domestic violence. The relationship's toxic nature was evident to those around them, particularly Liese's former boss at Dairy Queen, who witnessed numerous signs of abuse.
She had a lot of personal problems with a boyfriend, a lot of calling off. She had a lot of black eyes when she would come in. When she first started, she would make excuses that her dog had jumped up and hit her and caused her black eyes. She was constantly running late, for personal reasons. Always something coming up. She had a lot of black eyes, a lot of bruising on her arms, where you could see, maybe grabbing, that kind of thing.
Initially, Liese would make excuses for her injuries, claiming her dog had jumped up and caused her black eyes. But the truth eventually emerged. Andrea was physically abusing her regularly.
What specifically did you see when the day you actually witnessed her being battered? What did you see?
A punch in the face.
You saw Mr. Holloway punch her
face. Okay. Yeah.
So were they in the car when that happened, or were they outside the car?
No, they were in the car.
Her boss once witnessed him punch Liese in the face while they were sitting in a car. When offered help or suggestions to call police, Liese consistently refused. The couple had even been homeless at one point, living in a tent by Lake Litchfield. In July 2021, Liese was hospitalized after Andrea broke her nose and gave her 2 black eyes. By September 2021, the situation had become so dangerous that Liese texted her boss, "My boyfriend beat me again, and I had to go to my mom's. They're wanting me to stay in a safe place because he's threatened before to harm us." Heidi Noel, Liese's mother, was acutely aware of the relationship's dangers. She had even obtained a protective order against Holloway after he threatened both her and her daughter, saying, "I love you guys, but I'm coming back to kill you."
He left me for a couple days, and he was becoming frightening, like he was going to do something. So I was like, "You gotta go." And so when he left, he called my daughter back and was like, "I love you guys, and I'm coming back to kill you."
Despite the warnings and interventions, Lisa continued to return to the relationship. June 7th, the disappearance. On Tuesday, June 7th, 2022, Andrea suddenly went missing. Lisa came home from work to find he wasn't there and he hadn't communicated his plans. This disappearance triggered anxiety for Lisa, who was heavily pregnant and already stressed by their volatile relationship. That evening, around 9 p.m., Lisa texted her mother, "You think he'd just leave like this?" expressing her fear that he had deliberately abandoned her. Heidi, who had long been concerned about the relationship, saw this as potentially positive, responding, "If this is how it's meant to happen, at least it was non-violent, and you've been set free." But Lisa wasn't ready to see it that way, replying, "I'm not seeing it that way yet." The conversation revealed the depth of Lisa's emotional turmoil as she confessed to self-harm, telling her mother, "I broke a razor down and cut my leg because I told him I was just going to kill myself." June 8th, the calm before the storm. Wednesday morning brought no resolution. At 7:06 a.m., Lisa texted her mother. Still no, Andrea hadn't returned. She went through her morning routine, washing work clothes and trying to maintain normalcy, but the anxiety persisted. Surveillance footage from just before 2 p.m. on June 8th shows Liese on her apartment porch, scrolling on her phone and looking out at the lawn. In less than 10 hours, she would be dead. The breakthrough came around 8 p.m. when Lisa received a message from Andrea's uncle saying he was bringing Andrea back and everything was fine. Against her mother's wishes and warnings, Lisa went to pick him up. CCTV footage captured their return to the apartment at 9:11 p.m. While in the car, Lisa texted her mother one final time, "I'm trying to figure it out." This would be the last communication she ever sent, and the last time she would be seen alive. The night of horror, June 8th, 2022. The violence begins. At 10:49 p.m., Heidi texted her daughter, "You okay?" She would never receive a reply. By then, Lisa was already dead. The apartment's downstairs neighbors, who had grown accustomed to the couple's frequent loud arguments, noticed something different that night. When they returned home around 9:30 p.m., they observed that Lisa's front door was cracked open, unusual for the couple.
Okay. And their front door was cracked, which is unusual. They don't.
9:30 p.m. last night? Okay.
They don't usually leave their front door cracked, and it was, and that was a little weird. And I heard like muffled yelling, like not screaming, but yelling in a way, kind of like in pain, like you just like snipped your finger with a scissor and you had to put some over your mouth so you wouldn't scream too loud.
Initially, they heard muffled yelling, like not screaming, but yelling in a way, kind of like in pain. The neighbor described it as sounding like you just snipped your finger with a scissor and you had to put something over your mouth so you wouldn't scream too loud.
And then all of a sudden, the screaming got really, really loud and really intense. And that was, I would say, probably about 9:45, 9:50. And then the apartment had like 5 or 6 loud like thuds, and they got louder and louder each time.
Okay.
The murder around 9:45 to 9:50 p.m., the situation escalated dramatically. The neighbors heard the screaming become really, really loud and really intense. Then came the sounds that would haunt them forever. 5 or 6 loud like thuds that got progressively louder and shook their apartment below.
So, like, what did it sound like experienced in life, to your best ability, that would have created or possibly created the sound that you heard?
Probably, I really don't know other than like chopping wood.
Okay. What about that sound makes you think chopping wood?
It was more of how steady it was.
Okay.
Because when you chop wood, you know, you gotta lift it up, you gotta hold it, and then you gotta put all your weight into it and all your muscle.
Yep.
And when you do it, you go.
And you kind of got a rhythm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it had like 4 or 5, 6 of those beats, and then it just stopped. The screaming stopped, the sound stopped, the shaking stopped, everything stopped.
When asked to describe what the sound reminded them of, the neighbor said it was like chopping wood because of how steady it was and rhythmic. They explained, when you chop wood, you gotta lift it up, you gotta hold it, and then you gotta put all your weight into it, all your muscle, and when you do it, you go and you kind of got a rhythm. After those rhythmic thuds, everything stopped. The screaming, the sounds, the shaking, everything went silent. What the neighbors couldn't bring themselves to fully comprehend was that they had just heard Liese being decapitated. At 11:57 p.m., surveillance cameras captured Andrea emerging from the apartment building carrying a white laundry basket. He approached Liese's car but seemed to have forgotten the keys. He had changed clothes and was now wearing dark shoes and a face covering. He returned inside briefly, then came out again with the laundry basket and walked toward a dumpster behind a nearby smoke shop. At 12:01 a.m. on June 9th, CCTV from a local business showed him throwing the white basket and some clothes into the dumpster. Unknown to anyone at the time, the basket contained Liese's severed head. By 2:01 a.m., Liese's car had disappeared from the parking lot. Andrea had driven to his mother's house. Suspicious behavior. Around 2:30 a.m., Andrea's sister heard loud banging at their door. When she opened it, she saw Andrea in a highly agitated state, pacing and acting nervous. She also noticed Liese's black car in their driveway, but Liese was nowhere to be seen. The next morning, around 10 a.m. on June 9th, Andrea's half-sister PJ found him in the bathroom cutting off his hair, something he hadn't done in 2 years. When asked why, he simply said it was for a fresh start. His demeanor was described as extremely nervous. Andrea asked his mother for a shower and clean clothes. The clothes he had been wearing, including a hoodie and pants visible in the CCTV footage, were taken outside and later disposed of in the trash can by the sidewalk. He also gave his grandmother several suspicious items, Liese's ID, debit card, and 2 keys, claiming he had found them on the ground.
I don't even know what his girlfriend's name is. Okay. But anyhow, he had gave me her ID in the debit card. Okay. And I said, well, why you got her debit card?
Yeah.
And license, And I said, now she out there driving, and then she thinks she got her license, and you got it. Then this morning, he gave me 2 keys.
Okay.
And I said, well, where you get these keys from? And he said he found them on the ground. But he didn't say where he found them on the ground.
Around midday, Andrea left the house on foot, claiming he was going to cut some grass.
He said, I'm going to cut some grass. And so she asked him, where was he going to cut grass? And he just said he's going to cut grass.
Okay. And he left on foot?
He left on foot.
Meanwhile, Liese's car sat parked on the street with a handwritten "For Sale" sign in the window. Early on the morning of June 9th, a construction worker disposing of drywall scraps in a large red dumpster made a disturbing discovery. Among the debris, he found blood-stained clothing including women's blouses, men's shirts, and a pair of red women's slippers, all smeared with dried blood.
So when I took it to the dumpster, there's a lot of clothes and shit in there, all strode all over, laundry basket, and there was a couple pair of shoes. Shoes was some slipper shoes too. Slipper shoes. Okay. They was red. They had blood on them. They all look like female shit. For real though. Male shit too.
Female and male clothes?
Yeah. That's what the knife looked like. Down like that.
Okay.
That short, teeth on that boat.
So like a paring knife?
Like with teeth on it, like you cut meat.
Like serrated?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like that. That's what the knife looked like. Just
was
like
the handle longer than the blade, or was the?
No, it was short, about like this. Yeah, like that. Yeah,
okay.
That long.
Nearby lay a serrated paring knife with blood on its blade and a white laundry basket. The worker, shaken by the scene, immediately alerted his supervisor, who contacted the Alton police. This discovery would prove to be the first piece of a horrific puzzle. The mother's worst fear. Meanwhile, Heidi Knoll was growing increasingly worried. She hadn't heard from Liese since the previous evening and had been trying to reach her daughter all morning without success. Having been aware of the dangerous nature of Lisa's relationship with Andrea, and knowing she checked on her daughter daily, Heidi decided to go to the apartment. At around 1 p.m., Heidi arrived at Lisa's apartment on Bolivar Street. She let herself in, and within minutes, other residents could see her opening the door, visibly shaking. The neighbors' expressions said everything. Something terrible had happened. At 12:59 p.m., Heidi made a chilling 911 call that would forever be etched in the memories of first responders.
Yeah. Hi. Listen.
What's going on?
My girlfriend's daughter is killed. Yeah.
What's going on there?
My daughter's, he chopped her head off.
The crime scene police arrived shortly after Heidi's call and discovered Lisa's body in her bedroom. Her head appeared to be wrapped in a towel like a turban, but underneath, her head was completely gone. The apartment showed minimal blood spatter, suggesting the decapitation had occurred after death. There was no sign of a murder weapon in the apartment, and no sign of Lisa's head. The killer had clearly removed crucial evidence. At 2:15 p.m. that day, police would recover the white laundry basket from the dumpster behind the smoke shop, making a horrifying discovery. Lisa's severed head was inside, wrapped in a plastic bag. With mounting evidence from CCTV footage, witness statements, and physical evidence, police executed a search warrant at Andrea's mother's house around 9:30 p.m. on June 9th. In the trash can outside, they found the discarded clothing Holloway had been wearing in the surveillance footage, as well as his cut-off dreadlocks wrapped in toilet paper. At 1:45 a.m. on June 10th, the Alton Police Department received a call from the Gillespie Police Department. That afternoon, they had arrested a John Doe for possession of cannabis during a routine stop. After running his fingerprints, they identified him as Andrea Holloway. During his detention in Gillespie, Holloway exhibited manic behavior, pacing, questioning officers repeatedly, and at one point, laughing while banging his head against the wall. Officers had to physically restrain him to prevent self-harm. When investigators from Alton arrived to interview him about Lisa's murder, Holloway refused to cooperate. He wouldn't even confirm his name and kept saying he wanted to go to work, though it was unclear if he was actually employed. He claimed to be dissociated and said he had been prescribed medication by a doctor in the past. After requesting a lawyer, the interview was terminated. On June 13, 2022, Andrea Holloway was formally charged with multiple felonies, 2 counts of first-degree murder, 2 counts of intentional homicide of an unborn child, dismemberment of a human body, offenses relating to motor vehicles, concealment of homicidal death. His bond was set at $2 million. Holloway's behavior in jail continued to be erratic and threatening. He refused to come out of his cell and made threatening statements to corrections officers, including, "I will cut off your head." He refused to attend virtual court appointments and had to be forcibly restrained to bring him to court. These behavioral issues led to him being found mentally unfit to stand trial. He underwent treatment at a state institution to regain competency to face the charges. During the legal proceedings, the Illinois Supreme Court ruled that an unborn child cannot be considered a second murder victim for the purpose of seeking a life sentence. This ruling impacted the potential sentence that prosecutors could seek in Holloway's case. After regaining mental competency, Holloway entered a guilty plea in January 2024. On January 17, 2025, he was sentenced to 60 years in prison, 30 years for the murder charge, 20 years for the homicide of an unborn child, 10 years for concealment of homicidal death, all sentences to be served consecutively. He must serve at least 52 years before becoming eligible for release. At the sentencing hearing, Lisa's mother, Heidi Noel, delivered powerful victim impact statements. "On that night, I received a life sentence," she said, "to live the remainder of my life without my beautiful, loving, sassy daughter. A life without knowing the joy of watching Liese raise my granddaughter." Noel supported the plea deal, stating, "This is a tragic outcome of a 2-year on and off again domestic violence relationship. This didn't have to end this way. My daughter should be here raising her daughter." Alton Police Chief Marcos Pulido was visibly emotional when discussing the case, repeatedly calling Holloway a savage monster.
She was savagely killed.
He described the crime as beyond reprehensible and abominable. The case prompted significant community support for Liese's family. A GoFundMe created in her memory raised nearly $16,000. After paying for funeral expenses, the family donated $5,000 to the Oasis Women's Center Alton, an organization that helps domestic violence victims, and $2,000 to the Riverbend Humane Society in Liese's memory. The case highlighted critical failures in addressing both domestic violence and mental health issues. Holloway's stepfather publicly acknowledged that the family had been trying to get him help for years, but were told by the system that they couldn't intervene until he had done something. Madison County State's Attorney Tom Hain noted that the plea deal spared Liese's family the additional trauma associated with a trial while ensuring justice was served. Liese Dodd's story is not just about one horrific crime, but about the warning signs that went unheeded, the help that never came, and the life of promise that was tragically cut short. The documentary footage and evidence reveal a pattern of escalating violence that culminated in an act so brutal it shocked even seasoned law enforcement professionals. It demonstrates how domestic violence can escalate to lethal levels when proper interventions and support systems fail. Heidi Knoll's final message serves as both a memorial to her daughter and a warning to others. If you are experiencing mental health challenges or instability, it is crucial to seek help and remain committed to your treatment. It's important to realize that your mental health issues will not exempt you from facing consequences for your actions. For those in abusive relationships, she pleaded, "It isn't easy and it may be one of the hardest things to do, but your life is important and you are worthy and deserve a life free from abuse." The case of Liese Dodd stands as a tragic testament to a young woman whose compassionate spirit and bright future were extinguished by someone who should have protected her. Her story continues to serve as a call for better domestic violence intervention, improved mental health services, and the recognition that behind every statistic is a human being whose life had immeasurable value. And that was today's case. Truth, lies, or just another unsolved mystery? What do you think? Tell us in the comments below. If you liked this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because Crime Tales will keep bringing you real crimes, real stories, where every clue hides a secret. See you in the next case. Till then, stay curious, stay safe.